Okay, guys, we are live here on the Horsepower Obsessed YouTube channel. If you guys are following on with the typical Monday night live videos, this one's going to be a little bit different. This is more of a informational video, real quick, something to cover some information for you guys and to have a little bit of a way for all of us to interact with each other so we can kind of talk about this news real quick. But ultimately, I want to keep this video at 30 minutes or less, just so the people that are coming to see it after the fact that it's live won't have to sit through an hour worth of banter or anything like that. But I did want to make this a live video just so we can kind of talk about what's going on. Now, again, if you guys are following the channel, you know we have talked about the Corvette Z06, the C8 Corvette Z06, and its allocation info. We were expecting allocation info to drop either today or at the end of the month. Those were the two dates that were kind of rumored at one point, and we found out today it's not happening today. So next we're looking towards the end of the month for this information. But just a real quick address to the guys over in the comment section here. We have Great White North Corvette. He says, hello, hope you're having a great day. I am having a good day. I hope you are as well, my friend. Justin, he said he just saw a C8 Z06 today, and oddly enough, he saw that at the same dealership I bought my C7 ZR1 from. Really cool car. I've seen it a couple times now in person, and yeah, that's what we're here to talk about today, guys. So, like I said, no C8 Corvette Z06 allocations today, and this, of course, comes to us from our friends over at the Mid-Engine Corvette Forum, as well as the Corvette Blogger. So I'm going to go ahead and flip you over to the browser. We're going to take a look at some of the information there, but ultimately, the allocation did not come in today. What that means for you guys, like I said, is we will probably have some allocation info by the end of the month. There were some rumors stating that it might happen today, but we just got word officially it is not going to happen today. So on to the constraint info. Now, we actually are going to talk a little bit about the Stingray as well as the Z06, but the information is just not great on either side of this. But as you can see here, it says this information comes from Chevrolet, but just because something is listed as constrained without actual percentages, we have no feel as to when or where in the 5% to 100% constrained amount it is. So far, it is not known. But right now, guys, the Stingray Z51, the Mag Ride, and the Edge Red engine cover are both on constraint. So if you're looking to order a C8 Corvette, just the base C8 Corvette, those options are constraint, which means it's basically going to hold up your build process. So could be a month, could be a week, could be 6 months. At this point, we don't know exactly where it's at. But right now, if you're trying to get the car as fast as possible, don't order those options for the Stingray or it will slow down your build. Now, moving on past that, we also have the C8 Corvette Z06. And of course, we do have some constraints as far as that one is concerned too. On the Z07 or the Z06, the T0F or T0G, which is the visible carbon fiber aero package, is on constraint. So if you wanted to build your Z06 with visible carbon fiber as the aero kit, like the front splitter and the side skirts, it will hold your build up as well. So for me, I have actually recently rebuilt my Corvette Z06 before this even came up, and I had decided to go with the carbon flash painted ground effects anyway. So that won't actually hurt my build, but it may hurt yours. So as you can see here, like I said, if you're trying to get this car as fast as possible, do not choose the visible carbon fiber aero package for your Z06 or the Z07 package car. Either one is going to hold you up. Now, like I said, this is for the 2023 build at this point. Obviously, the Stingray Z51 Mag Ride and Edge Red engine cover will also hold you up. If you're just looking to get the base C8, it's still going to be a problem. Steve-O, thank you so much. He said he gave up work so he could be here. I appreciate that, my friend. Yeah, so a lot of people, I know this is going to end up hurting a lot of people because the Z06 is all about carbon fiber. And at this point, you're going to have to give that up if you want the car ASAP. If you don't give it up, you will be getting the build date pushed back. Now, as some of you guys may have seen, we do have a few cars out there that already have a target production week of September 19th for the Z06. So they will be building these cars relatively quickly here. If I had to guess, somewhere between the end of August and the beginning of September is when things are really going to start gearing up for these things. Richard says, lots of delays. Glad I'm waiting on the E-Ray. Yeah, I mean, we live in a world of delays at this point, guys, but this is actually, believe it or not, this is actually good and bad news here, because if there is constraints for the Z06 already, then that means we're really close to actually having this car built. There would be no other reason to talk about constraints if the car wasn't actively, at least in the planning phases of being built. So like I said, with a target production week of September 19th showing up for some C8 Corvette Z06s, we have to be close. So this is ultimately good news, even though some of the things may be hurting your build. Now, the next piece of information we're going to talk about is also on the Mid-Engine Corvette forum, and it talks about the allocation. So I mentioned briefly in the beginning, August 11th was rumored as the date that we might get some allocation info for the Z06. That did not happen. So what the next date that I have heard is somewhere around the end of this month, so the end of August. That makes more sense to me, and it always has from the very beginning, because we're looking at September 19th target production weeks for a couple different Z06s out there. It makes more sense that we would get allocation info towards the end of the month. So for any of you out there that were waiting for the Z06 allocations today, unfortunately, like I said, it is not happening. So no Z06 allocations today, but we did get Stingray allocations. So if you're on your dealership waiting list, you may have some allocations sitting there waiting for your 2023 C8 Corvette base model, if that's what you wanted to do. So good news and bad news today, guys. No Z06 allocation info, but we did get some for the Stingray. Now, the fact that we didn't get any Z06 allocation info is actually kind of info in itself, because a lot of people were rumoring that the August 11th date was going to be a date for allocation info on the Z06. And since we didn't get that, it really only leaves one option. And the other rumor was, like I said, at the end of the month. So towards the end of the month is where we're going to get this date, the allocation info, if I had to guess. But curious what you guys are thinking over there. I see a lot of chatter happening in the chat here. Yeah, Great White North Corvette said he didn't add any carbon fiber to his build. Hopefully he'll get his 2023. I originally did have carbon fiber on my build, and it was only 2 or 3 nights ago that I had gone through and rebuilt it. And the way that I'm going to go with the car is actually going to be with carbon flash painted ground effects, which are not on constraint, which makes a lot of sense now that, you know, looking back on it. But basically I have an image in my head as to what I want to do with this car, and it ended up not being exposed carbon fiber stuff. So it worked out for me, I guess. But I know some people out there are going to be a little bit upset you're not getting carbon fiber on your Z06 unless you're planning on waiting a little bit. Obviously, we've waited a while for the car as it is, but it happens. Delays do happen. Constraints do happen. The base C8, when it first came out, was the same way. You couldn't get rapid blue or accelerate yellow right off the bat. There was constraints on those colors, as well as some of the carbon fiber ground effects. GM seems to have issues with carbon fiber, the exposed stuff at least. But next we're going to move on. Again, kind of the same information, just told in a slightly different way from the CorvetteBlogger.com website. It says that there's still no Z06 allocations yet, but the first constraints have already been announced. And like I said, that is actually a good piece of information. It's good news that we already have constraints, because it's really pushing into the fact that this car is coming soon, or else the constraints wouldn't matter. So anyway, they kind of just go over a lot of the same stuff from the Mid-Engine Corvette forum, but a lot of the information here might be something you don't know yet. If you don't watch the Monday live videos that I do with the entire Vet Syndicate group, there was an announcement for the gas guzzler tax, and it was either $2,600 without the ground effects or $3,000 with the ground effects. So if you guys haven't heard that yet, it's not as high as some people were speculating. Some were thinking it was going to be over $5,000. It's $3,000 at max for the Z06. So that's actually good news as well. But again, it's up to you as to whether or not you see this as good news or not because of your Z06 build. If you wanted it to have carbon fiber, this might come as a surprise. It might not be great news for you. Uh, okay, so our pop says maybe there are also constraints on lap times too. Yeah, it does seem that way. We still haven't gotten any information on the Nurburgring. Hopefully that's coming soon, but we'll see. Now, you guys, I do want you all to understand one thing. GM does not have to ever give us Nurburgring times. It is not something that they owe us. It's not something that they're contractually obligated to give us. So if they don't want to give it to us, they don't have to. And not saying that I don't want them, because trust me, that's literally one of the things I'm waiting to hear. But at the same time, they don't owe it to us. So just keep that in mind whenever you're upset about those times. We may never get them, and there's really nothing we can do about it. All right, so a lot of people didn't add any carbon fiber. That's good. If you didn't have any carbon fiber, then I guess this is good information for you because, like I said, if the fact that it's on constraint means good things for the car in general. Now, the last thing I wanted to show you guys here, obviously we're on the Mid-Engine Corvette forum and the Corvette blogger, but the Mid-Engine Corvette forum actually answers a question that I got on my Monday night live video. And I'm hoping the person is on here. I can't recall who asked this, but someone asked me what the new white on the 70th anniversary edition Z06 looked like. If it was more of a bright white or more of like a cream color, which is typical of a pearlescent color. On the Mid-Engine Corvette forum, someone actually took a picture of it. So we actually have a picture in the daylight of the Z06 70th anniversary edition. I can't remember the name of the white that they used for this, but basically it's a pearl metallic white that they used on this car. And you can kind of see in this picture here, it almost looks like a slightly dirty white. So I would not call this a bright white, but I wouldn't necessarily call it a creamy pearl color either. It's somewhere in between. Now, the reason I say that is because in this picture here, you can actually barely see that there's silver stripes on the front of that car. So the fact that that silver stripe kind of blends into the pearlescent color of that car kind of tells me it's a little bit of a darker shade of white. It's not really bright white, but it doesn't really look like a creamy white to me either. If you guys can remember Cadillacs of the past, they typically went with a pearl white, was one of their big sellers, and it always had kind of a creamy pearl color to it. This looks like it's focusing more on white, but at the same time, there's enough metallic and enough pearl in there that it's almost hiding those silver stripes. So again, this was a question that came up on Monday night, and I saw the answer to it, and I figured I would address it. If any of you guys out there are wanting to know the color, there it is. But what do you guys think of that? Are you guys upset about the carbon fiber option not being available right away? It's kind of constrained for some of those people out there. We did just get a super chat from Derek Taylor. Thank you very much. He says that you are amazing. So actually, you guys are amazing. You are the ones that make this community what it is. So thank you. But Ed Stingray says he was told February 2022, number 4, now still 4, September 2021, I ordered a Stingray. Huh. Interesting. Richard says definitely some poor planning with everything that happened during the pandemic. Yeah, there's across the board, nobody really saw this kind of stuff coming, so it's hard to plan for something like this. Yeah, Ryan, it was actually because of your comment that I did, believe it or not. So Ryan's happy that I went live because he actually commented on one of my videos and asked me if I was going to go live. And usually I try to save the live videos for Monday night, but I thought this was an important enough piece of information. I did want to get it out to you guys as fast as possible. So thanks, Ryan. Between you and just the Corvette community in general, you guys make me want to step this up for you because I know this information is important to a lot of you guys. Great White North Corvette, that 100% I agree. I wish that you could get the two 70th anniversary colors without having to get the 70th anniversary package because I'm not a fan of the interior, and I really just I don't want the 70th anniversary package, but I really like that carbon flash black color. I wish I could get that without choosing the 70th anniversary. You're very welcome. USMC says thanks for the update. Very informative. You're very welcome. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Thank you all for tuning in. Real quick, I'm going to go back over the information for any of you guys just now tuning in. We have the Stingray and Z06 Constraints. The information is right here. So on the Stingray, we have the Z51, the Mag Ride, and the Edge Red engine cover is on constraint. So if you're ordering a 2023 Stingray, you will not get it ASAP if you choose any of those options. The constraints still exist for the Z06 as well. So whether you choose the Z07 package or just the base Z06, you will not be able to get the T0F or T0G, which is the visible carbon fiber aero package. You're not going to be able to get that without waiting a little bit longer. So the fact that we got constraint information on the Z06 is actually good news, because that means the car's coming soon. And I know we were all waiting for it, and we're going nuts here, but at the same time, this is good information, or good news, I guess. Next is, we were expecting some allocation info today for the Z06, and we didn't get any. What that means is no dealerships, no allocation information yet. And it was originally rumored it was either going to be today or the end of the month. It looks like it's now going to be near the end of the month before any dealerships get any allocation information. Real quick, like I said, on Monday night, there are a few people who have had target production weeks of September 19th. So the car is coming soon. Their production for that car is going to be the week of the 19th. So we got to be getting pretty close here. So again, good news. And then, of course, just the last little bit here talking about the new pearlescent color for the 70th anniversary Z06. Looking different than white, but not as bright white as some people had speculated. It looks like it's going to be a little bit more of a mixture between white and the creamy white that pearlescent typically is. More visible with those silver lines in the front. But anyway, guys, I think that's going to be just about it. Yeah, so Peter Shrink, that's exactly what I heard too. So a lot of people have been talking about the fact that the Z06 will be making its deliveries between November and December. And I heard that actually from the guy who is touring with the Z06. It was at my local dealership the other day. I talked to him, and he said November, December was when most cars are going to be delivered. Ryan asked if I already discussed what you will do if this constraint falls upon your allocation. I did, Ryan. It's not going to. So believe it or not, it was actually only 2 or 3 days ago I sat down and I went through my build, and I had decided against exposed carbon fiber anyway. So my ground effects will be painted carbon flash regardless, and that was before this news came up, so it doesn't really affect me. After Carlisle, I will be selling my C8 to get ready for the Z06 by next summer, says Great White North Corvette. That's probably a pretty good idea. LT, any idea if the constraints will affect me if I am at 3,000 status on a Z51 Stingray, or am I already past? I think you're already good, LT. I'm pretty sure you are. So this sounds to me like this is only going to affect the people that are just now putting in their order, but I'll look into that and I'll try to get you a definite answer on that one. Did any dealers who do ADM get limited Stingray allocations? Not that I've heard, nothing official at least. I'm hoping that that is something that comes out here pretty soon. Yeah, so allocations, the dealerships are to get a percentage based on the sales of the 2020 to 2022 3 LTs sold. The specific percentage is not provided. I did just read that on the Corvette, mid-engine Corvette form as well. So that is something else, guys. If your dealership sold a lot of C8s, they're going to get a higher number of Z06 allocations. This is kind of something we already speculated, we already pretty much knew, but it is in writing now from GM stating it is definitely going to be a certain percentage that has not been, I guess, provided just yet, but the percentage is going off of how many C8s they sold. Okay. Yeah, I need to see the white in person at Carlisle. We probably will. If I had to guess, someone told me that there was going to be at least 4 C8 Z06s at Carlisle this year. I have a feeling there may be more. If it's like 2020, or actually it was 2019, at Carlisle, we had probably 10 to 15 C8 Corvettes show up there. They were all just parked in the field like it was no big deal. So we may get that same kind of thing happening with the Z06. Yep. Yeah, they are charging 50K over for Z06, but now it's 75. That's insane, man. Yeah, Gabriel says he called a dealership last week, said the wait list is 3 to 5 years. I have heard many times myself talking to random dealerships that they are between 2 to 5 years, which is nuts. It's just crazy. But anyway, guys, I want to wrap this video up. I didn't want to keep you too long here. I just wanted to give you a little bit of information here, talking about some of the allocation stuff and the fact that, yes, there are constraints for the Z06 already, which is actually good news because that means the car's coming soon. But anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. If you liked what you saw, please make sure you hit that thumbs up button before you leave. It really helps the channel. It really helps circulate this out to all the other Corvette enthusiasts. If you guys like what you saw and you're not subscribed, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I will be doing Corvette news like this all the time. You're not going to want to miss what's coming, guys.